Today I want to take a little break from bitching about things I don't like to talk about something that I think everyone should have. And that thing I think everyone should have is a survival bag. I think everyone should have a survival bag, or survival sack as I like to call it, mainly just because I like to say the word sack. But this is something I think pretty much everyone out there should have. Possibly in their car, in their home, wherever they want it, but everyone should have one just in case. Now, back around Christmas time, I did a video on this talking about how it could be a potential gift for someone in your life. Now, this one came from, I think, campingsurvival.com. You can go over there and put one together really easily, or you can piece one together on your own. I find it much easier to go to a place like Camping Survival and actually put it together because I'm kind of lazy. But this is something, like I said, everyone should have. Now, when I said that to people, a lot of people said, I don't know. Bug out bags are part of that whole tacti-cool fantasy of bugging out in the middle of the night and fighting against the government. Well, these aren't bug out bags. These are survival bags, so there's a big difference. So today I want to talk about why you should have one of these, the kind of stuff you should have in it, and what you should do with the stuff you have in it. Now, before we start looking at things individually here, I want to note one thing. Now, a lot of times people will tell you, don't overdo it, don't put too much stuff in your pack. Well, that's ridiculous. Put as much stuff in your pack as your pack can possibly handle, even if it's something you can't comfortably carry, because you don't know what situations you're going to face. And once you do face that situation, then you can edit your pack. You can say, I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need this. You cannot, however, in an emergency situation go, oh, darn it, I don't have this, let me go get it. So put as much stuff in there as you can possibly think you might need under multiple different circumstances. Even if you can't carry it, if your pack holds it, put it in there. You can always take it out later. Now, when you're putting your pack together, there's three categories, three specific needs that you should definitely consider when you're making a pack. This would be what I consider a minimalist pack. A minimalist pack will take into account that you need shelter, water, and food in that order. You're definitely going to need shelter from the elements because that's the way you're going to die the quickest. If you're freezing to death, that doesn't take very long. If you die from exposure, that can be pretty quick, so that's the first thing you got to take care of. Now for shelter, you're going to carry things like a tube tent, a poncho, a thermal blanket. You'll probably want some nylon cord to be able to make your own shelter out of a tarp or whatever else you can find on the scene. So those are the kind of things you're going to need to protect you from the elements. And that's going to vary from place to place. If you live in the desert, it's obviously going to be different if you live in a mountainous area. So take into account where you live and what things you're going to need to shelter you from the elements. The next thing you're definitely going to need to take care of is water. You need water to survive. In my area, water is plentiful, so I carry more things like stuff that makes me able to drink the water that's available, like a life straw or water purification tablets, things like that. Now, also in my car, I carry a case of the Blue Can water. This survives heat, it survives cold, it lasts in your car for years. You can just leave it out there and you know it's going to be good when you need it. So that's what I carry. If I stay with my car, I've got plenty of water. If I have to leave my car, I can't carry that, it's too heavy, but I can fill up a canteen or something like that with it, and I'm ready to go. Also, a canteen is also good to have if you don't carry any water, because if you find water that you're going to purify it, put it in your canteen. You can also buy water in Mylar bags, however you want to get it. Just make sure water is something you're going to be able to have. Even if you do live in an area where water is plentiful, make sure you have some water to get you through a short period of time till you can find water. Next is going to be food. If you're out there for a number of days, you want to keep your energy up, you want to be able to eat. Things that are high in sugar, high in fat, high in carbohydrates are great in those situations. Also, things that are pre-packaged like these freeze-dried meals, they're great for such situations. They're very lightweight, they don't take up a lot of room, and they'll give you a lot of energy. These ones are from Valley Food Storage right here. These are very good. I like these. They actually taste good, and they're easy to make. So something like this is great for carrying food with you. Some people might not like this though, so they might want to opt for little things like, things of pulled pork or little things of ham. These are not very big, they're not very heavy. You can carry these with you. A couple of these would last a normal sized person a few days out in the woods, would keep you going for quite a while. And most people are only going to be out a day or two if they get stranded somewhere, so something like this is also a good option. But you carry what you want to carry. Even if you just put some candy bars in your bag, or you always have some fresh candy bars in your car or whatever, candy bars are better than nothing. So just make sure you have a food source. Now, once you've covered those three basic needs, the next big need, in my opinion, is medical. You should definitely have a first aid kit. Always have a first aid kit with you. You don't know if you're going to fall down, get a minor injury. Make sure you got something in there like ibuprofen, things to treat wounds, things to stop bleeding, etc. And if you want to take it a step further, get yourself a small surgical kit. These are very useful in a really dire situation. Something like that would be great to have. Another thing you can keep in your medical kit is bug repellent. If you live in an area where bugs are thick, having something like this would really be nice out in the field. Now, the next category I just consider tools. Tools you might need while you're in the field. That could be anything from a flashlight to a radio, a hatchet, or even a pocket fisherman if you plan on being out there for a while. Tools can be a lot of things. Now, the tools I think most people will already have on them are a knife and hopefully a secondary flashlight, their main flashlight, and the one in their pack is just a backup. But if you're someone that doesn't carry those things, make sure you have a knife and a flashlight in your bag. Now, you might also want to consider getting something a little more hardcore, like a good machete. A good machete like this can actually be really good at clearing area to put up a shelter. It can be good for gathering materials for a shelter, for fire, etc. This can be really useful if you're stranded out in the field. Now, I could spend all day here showing you things you could put in your pack. But, like I say, you make the decisions of what you think you're going to need. Just make sure you cover those basic categories: shelter, water, food, medical, and then all the tools you need to use the stuff you have with you, like a spoon or a fork, something like that. What does it do to have food if you can't eat it? So make sure you have all the things you think you're going to need. Not to run away in the middle of the night and fight the government. That would be a totally different bag. This is a bag for emergencies. Now, it could be that this would be for use if you had to leave your home. Let's say you live in an area that's prone to forest fires. You might have to take off quickly. So throw in a change of clothes, some socks, etc. You should always have clean socks in any bag you have. And then you're ready to go in that case too. Now, one last thing I want to say before I go any further, and I bet you there's already some people in the comment section that have touched on this topic. Some people are going to say, why is this stuff still in the packages? You're not even using it. Or take it out of the packages, it'll take up less space. Well, I've never known anything like a pup tent or a poncho that takes up less space once you remove it from its original packaging. So things like that, leave them in the packaging, leave them in your case. They take up less space that way. And as far as taking them out and using them, don't do it. A lot of people will say, well, since it's in packages, you've never used it. You don't know how to use it. Well, how do you have to learn how to use poncho? How do you have to learn how to use a tube tent? Things like that you don't have to learn how to use. And the things you do have to learn how to use, you can actually buy two of. They're not expensive. You don't want to use the one that's in your case, or survival sack, as I like to call it. You don't ever want to use those, because if you use them, that means you're taking them out of your survival sack and you're taking them someplace else usually. And that means, inevitably, you're going to forget to put something back. And then you're going to be in an emergency situation and you're going to be like, oh, where's my medical kit? Oh, it's on the coffee table at home and I'm 200 miles from home. So the stuff that's in your survival sack is only for your survival sack. If you want two of them, buy two of them. It's not hard. They're not expensive. These items are usually like $10 or less each, but you want them to be in your sack when you need them. I mean, really, how long is it going to take you to learn how to use a road flare? But if you take the road flares out of your sack and use them for something else and don't put them back, and then you're out in the wood and you need to start a fire or signal someone, well, you don't have your road flares. So it doesn't make sense to use the stuff that's in your survival sack. So just use a little common sense, know what you need, the categories you need to fill, and fill them the best you can in one bag. You're never going to be able to put everything in there, but put everything you can and make sure that you meet your basic needs. So there you have it. That's why I say a tactical sack is something that everyone should have. If you've got a car, you should have one of these in it. It's not at all tacti-cool. It's actually practi-cool. It's actually a very practical thing. And like I said, everyone should have one. If you got more than one car, you should probably have more than one. Have one in each vehicle you own. But this is definitely something that I think everybody should have, despite whether you consider yourself to be tactical or not.